Okay, so in here we're going to refine our search a bit more. So how do we do that? We're going to add our category here. Okay, so either this or that. So let's come back here for a second. And we have this query running here. So let me do the same thing for, let me come back here. Okay, so if there's a search here, if you notice one thing here, if I hit search, description will be there whether we like it or not. It's going to be there. So we need to add another check here. So if is set get description and we say trim get description. I've actually removed the wrong bracket here. There we go. So and trim get description there is not equal to empty. Yeah, no, this is not working well because we are checking for that here as well. Okay, so if it's a search, we're expecting to see this regardless. So it's not really important to check whether this is set, but who knows? You may try to run this where description doesn't exist, so maybe we can leave it there. That's okay. So I'm just going to say where trim description is not equal to empty, I'll put some empty strings there. That's okay. So we already know that if yeah, it can still either be this or it can be empty. So let's leave it at that for now. And I'm going to copy this. Let me delete the second one I have done. Let me just duplicate it again and then change the description to category now. Category, like so. So if I go back to my, yes, category is there. Where is this? Category, good. So now if you look at the category here, on its default state, it's on any category. So any category. So if it's there, it must have that as the default. So let me copy that default value from the URL. Copy. So we know that it will never be empty. So let's put that there. So what we're saying here is if it is set and it's not equal to that, then get the category. Oh, I missed this one here. Category, like so. Okay, so that's all the code there. Category, 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 great. Now keep in mind that this plus sign here is only in the URL there. It represents a space. So put that space there and remove the plus sign because it will be decoded when it comes down here and we will not have that plus sign there. So any category there. So as long as category is set, then we're good to go. Now we're going to have a slight problem here. So I'm going to do this. Let me just duplicate this part and paste there, category, like this. Okay. So if category is not empty, then we're going to change this where prod, let me copy this here. Where are we? I'll say category, like so, but from a different table. So let's see where product category, like, now we're not using like here. Now the product category is going to have IDs, if I am not mistaken. Let me inspect the element just to confirm here that we're using IDs as values, and that is true. So let me come back here. So it's going to be an ID that we're using to search. So where prod category let's change this to category because that's a table we are searching. Now remember that category has been abbreviated to cat, so let's move that to cat. So I'm going to say where cat ID, because those are IDs that we are getting. And for IDs, we don't need the like, we need equal to. We don't need wildcards either, like that. And there we go. So where cat ID is equal to that. Now the problem we're having here is we have two where clauses. So if this is set and this is set at the same time, we're going to have a big problem, because we're going to have where this, where that. Okay, so we must know when to put where. So we can't put it here. We can't put it there either. Okay, so we must put it before any of these. So the way we must do here is to figure out if any of these are set, then it means we can happily accept a where clause somewhere, otherwise we shouldn't. So a good way to do that is to create an array here. So let's create an array and just call it, I don't know, params or something. Yeah, let's just call it params. That makes sense. Let's set this to an empty array, like so. This way it's easy to know when there's stuff and when there isn't. So at this point, I'm just going to check if the count of params is greater than 0. So if it is, then let's add to query. Let's say dot equals. Let's add a where clause, because now we know that there's something to be where about. So great, like so. Yep, so that these guys will find there's already a where clause over there. So in order for this to work though, we must add some stuff to params. So I'm just going to copy this text here and add these guys to params, like so. I'll say params description, like so. Great. So then I will copy params here and do the same thing over here. Because now we don't have this variable anymore, we have params instead. So I will put params there, like so. And I will do this. I don't know if this will actually work, but we'll see. Okay, great. So params description. Now I don't need that $sign, so yeah, it's gonna work. Okay, good. Same thing here. I'll put params and yeah, category, and close that. Remove the single quotes, like so. Goody. Things are looking up. Okay, so if both of these are set, we're going to have a query that reads join all these where, and then we're going to have where product description is like this, and then we need something to join these two statements, because here if we just have both of these correct and concatenate it together, it's not going to make sense. We need to have either an and or an or clause there. So the one that will work is obviously and, because we need all of them to be true in order for that criteria to work. Otherwise, we are not narrowing anything down. So we're not going to put the and at the beginning here, because we don't know if this exists before this. Because if I put an and here and this doesn't exist, it's going to read where and cat, and that won't make sense. So like this is going to read where this and whatever comes next. But if this isn't there, then it's just going to be where this, and then we can put another and at the end, like so. Now we get another problem here, because once we are done with this, okay, the very last one, each one of these segments doesn't know whether it's first or it's last. And it will have an and here, which won't read very well when we come to order by, if we have an and there at the end. So how do we fix this? Well, we can just tell it to remove the and at the end by telling it to trim the query before we add anything else here. So trim usually removes spaces. So I'm going to say query is equal to trim query, like that. Oops, There we go. Query. So this one will definitely remove the spaces. This space to be specific. Now, if I do it again this time, there are no spaces to remove anymore, but I can tell it what exactly else to remove, and that is the AND statement, like so, if it exists either on the back or on the front. Now there's left trim and there's right trim. You can say R trim or you can say left trim. This time we want to trim on the right side, I can say R trim. But it's not important, you can still use just trim, it will trim on both sides if you don't really care, as in our case here. So here we should have a pretty good query that takes in consideration the category and the description. So let's see that in action, shall we? So I want one that has tradition in it, and let's see what category it has. And that's very complicated. So what I would do is I'll remove this and hit search. Okay, so we have a problem here, line 71, unclosed bracket. So let's see what's going on. Line 71, where are we? 71, all the way here. So let's see what is happening. We have an unclosed bracket. Okay, so let's see which brackets are missing here. That one goes with this one goes with that one with this one, that one with that one, and this one has nobody. Interesting indeed. So maybe I can just put this inside a open bracket like so to give it something to do. Let's see, and refresh. Okay, so undefined variable description on line 90 and 95. Very good. Let's see what we've got. So we have 90 and we have 95, and which is actually true. So I just need to copy params here. Copy, put that there and that one there. Paste, put our respective quotes like so, and we should be home and dry. Refresh. Okay, more errors. Very nice. So let's see what we have. Syntax error, access violation. You have an error in your syntax, in your SQL syntax. Okay, great. So let's just come here and echo out our query and see what the error is. Usually these things you can always see just by echoing out. I'll just say echo, because the query will not make sense. So let's see what is wrong with our query. So obviously we know this part is okay, except where the where clause starts from. So here we have where, and then we have order by. Look at that. So we just have a where clause, but we have nothing else after that. This doesn't make any sense since so it's saying these guys are empty and count params is greater than 0. Oh, this is the thing. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, so the problem here is that even though these guys are empty here, I'm still adding them to params, and so that is increasing the count of params, right? So what we will do here instead is say I wanted to add a no safe operator, but let's do things a bit different. So what I will do is I will just put I think it's better to just check if this is set at all. So I'm just going to say if is set, like so, on both of these, and close that up here. And let's delete these other things here. So we just check if this is set and then we add them. Then we have to change things a little bit here. So I'm going to cut this and put an if statement there, a proper if statement. Right here where there's a question mark, I will go down like this, put a bracket, and then I will do this, put that which I have cut here and remove that question mark like this. This way what I'm doing is making sure that if there is nothing, if it's empty, then we just don't add it to params here. We leave it empty. So same thing here. I will cut this, replace it with if, and drop down where there's a question mark, like so. Oops. And then I'll put a bracket, and I will replace that with this and remove that. Okay, great. I think this time it's going to be happy. Let me try it out, refresh. Okay, pretty great. Yeah, let's zoom out. So we have our query there. It's running. We don't need it anymore to see it. But let's look at the results we're getting, shall we? Now here it says where. There's no where clause whatsoever, which is good because we haven't actually typed anything to do with the where clause. So that is actually working. But let's try something like, let's say so good, and category is, let's just try a category that has drinks. Yeah, just that without anything there, and let's hit search. Okay, so there we have another error here. So the error here is quite visible because when we look at the where clause, we're saying where cat ID is equal to 2, but there's a quote here, but there's no closing quote on the other side. So let's come back to our code. This is very easy to fix. I just probably forgot a second quote on the end here. So I'm going to add that there, like so. And let's try again. So I'm going to refresh the page, and there we go. We have our results. Yes, good. The query is reading just fine. Let me try with so here and just hit search. I expect to get one thing, and I did. So you can see the query here is making sense where product description, so, and cat is equal to. This is pretty good. So what I'll just do is remove the echo because it's messing up our CSS, and let's try this again like this. Okay, so I'm searching for a description that has so in it, and it's in a category of drinks. So as you can see here, I have gotten so, and it's in drinks category. Very good. So let's try these ones individually. So I'll search for so by itself and any category and hit search. So there's only one item like that. So let me search the drinks, but without providing a description. And there we go. I get 2 items, right? So let me try one item that has all and in any category here. So search. Okay, so we get more items here. Let's look at a category for food, just food. Let's see here, and let's go to food and search. Great, we get more items. So it's working so far with these 2, but let's see how we can add the rest of them in following videos.